Hello and welcome to ChinnyVision. This time, a port from the Atari 2600. Keystone Kapers is an Atari 2600 game from 1983 published by Activision. I don't have a 2600, but I think we should have a quick look at this game under emulation just to explain the concept and how it works. Very, very simple. You are a police officer who has to catch a robber before the clock runs out or the robber escapes. You start on the bottom right hand side of the map. Harry Hooligan, the robber, starts the game in the centre of the second floor, and he will immediately start running right in an attempt to reach the top right hand screen of the building. There are escalators that you can use to go up levels, and you can't go down in them. There's also elevators that you can use to go up and down, but you have to use them very, very carefully because you can't control where they're going to appear. You have to wait for them. So that's a quick look at the emulated version on the Atari 2600, 2600, 2600, whatever you want to call it, because I don't know. And yeah, a pretty good game to play on that system, especially a system that's so basic. But we're having a look at the Atari XL and MSX versions. There's also a CinnyVision version, I believe, but I don't have one of those either. And immediately the first thing that strikes you is it's a more polished version of the original game. And off we go. Jump over the beach ball. Collect the briefcase. And you get music running in the background all the time. Can I hit the elevator? Can I hit the elevator? You have to be very careful. You have to work out the pros and cons of using the elevators, because you can use them but end up ahead of the robber. And if you end up ahead of the robber, and I made a mistake there because you should always jump onto the escalators. If you end up ahead of the robber, he will start running the other way. And if he runs the other way, he can access elevators that you can't use to go back down again. Your time will just run down and run down and run down. You don't lose lives for hitting any beach balls or any of these other enemies, but you will lose time off the clock. So there you go, that's how you do it. You jump onto the escalator. I say second floor, the enemy starts off from the second floor, the robber. I think in the UK we'd call that the first floor, because you start on the ground floor, don't you? It's semantics, really. Differences between an American way of saying first floors and second floors, and British way of saying ground floor, first floor. So level 2. There is no conclusion to this game, by the way. It just gets harder and harder and harder until it's so fast you basically can't play it. Right, can I jump in that? I can jump in that. You've got to press up to go in the elevator. So if I go up to the top... Oh, no, I'm going to... Right, so I'll jump out there. I've now made up time. Up we go. And actually the robber doesn't use the escalators that you use. He uses the special lift at the end of the level. Don't know why. Why can't I use that lift? I'm the police. Why can't I use that lift? I've got to duck down here. The game does get progressively harder. We're now... This is level 3. So you've got things you've got to duck. And... Right, let's wait for this elevator and see if this pays off. So he's in the middle floor. I have to wait a bit now. Come on. You get that map down the bottom that shows you where Harry Hoodlum, the robber, is. He's running along there. So, right, come on, lift. I would like to get into the lift. Elevator. The American viewers. Jump into the elevator. Right, okay, now we should be in business because it moves faster once you're in it. Come on, take me to the top. Come on. Come on. No! You can see on the map, he started running the other way. And that's bad. I should have got off on the middle floor. I got greedy there, but no, I can get him. I just about got away with that. If he got to the end, it would become much more difficult because you can't use those escalators to go down. They only go up. I would have to have got in the elevator, and basically, without a lot of luck, that's impossible to make it work without the timer running down before you get out of time there. Level 10, you can select any level you want to start from. And now it's getting quite fast. 2 beach balls here to jump underneath. It's a lovely update of the original version. Just using the Atari 8-bits, extra hardware, and sound chip, just to give it a slightly more polished experience. It plays exactly the same. It's just as much fun as the original, but it's a lot more polished. Jump over those things. They're not collectible. I don't know what they're supposed to be. Under those balls there. Oh, no, it got me there. Oh, and this gets complicated now because those trolleys are coming the other way. If they do hit you, the game removes them so you don't suddenly get hit by them straight away again. But you do lose a significant amount of time. Oh, just about did that. See, level 10, here we are. It's starting to get quite tough. The level layout itself, the store, is always the same. It's just what baddies appear on each screen. If you've stepped into the elevator, the baddies can't get you, which is useful, but you mustn't mess it up like I did there. Level 15, just to show you how impossible this game can start to become on the faster levels. It's only level 15. And no, you can't, just to check this, prove it, you can't access that lift that the baddie can use. There's an MSX version on cartridge, so let's have a look at this version and see what it's like. And off we go. Nice and fast, all using the MSX sprites, no colour clash at all, although it's incredibly garish, as you'd expect from an MSX1 game, especially an early game. Don't have quite the colour palette the Atari 8-bits do. Slightly more compressed screen with bigger sprites, but feels authentic. Don't know why there's no background music the entire time. Jump into the elevator. Wrong floor. Will I make this work? There's Harry Hoodlum running past. This works out. He drops me off here. I should be fairly quickly after him. It's a payoff. You forget quite how long it takes to run across each level, so even if you have to wait for the lift, it can be very much worth it. And there we go. Get some music now. I think it's reasonable to say this is an approximation of the original game. It's not as authentically ported as the Atari 8-bit version is, but it's very playable. There's playability-wise, there's not a lot in it. Graphically, yes, there is, but in terms of playability, can I jump in there? And the worst thing is the Harry Hoodlum starts running the other way before you've even got out the lift. So now I really am stuffed. I should probably have waited for that lift, because there is no way down. You can't go down the elevators. He will just keep running down now, and the problem is that I've got 30 seconds left on the clock, and I'm not going to catch him. So let's see what he's going to do. Does he continue running to the left? Now, he doesn't use the escalators. Yeah, he gets to the end of the screen and just appears on the next level at the bottom. It's not that the timer isn't real time. It appears to count down very slowly. Possibly, I'm wondering if this time is slightly more generous than the Atari versions. Don't run the clock down. No. Completely failed there. Off we go again. And yeah, the game is quite repetitive, really. It's very simple. It's from the dawn of home console gaming, really, just updated for the MSX in this case. The gameplay is still essentially the Atari 2600, 2600 version. So, in terms of longevity, there's some good high score challenge potential here. I don't think it's one that I can't see you playing this for hours on end, if you see what I mean. Just try and catch him. There we go. And the difficulty on the MSX version ramps up in exactly the same way it does in the other versions. And the difficulty does ramp up in exactly the same way it does in the Atari 8-bit version. So, Keystone Kapers, an absolutely fantastic Atari 2600, Atari 2600 game. Not one with massive longevity, but really good fun, and I always think a cut above many of the other titles. But how does it port to the more advanced 8-bit systems? Well, the Atari 8-bit version is absolutely fantastic. It's everything you want from an update for a more advanced system. Better graphics, better sound, but they haven't messed with the gameplay. Exactly what you want. The MSX version, yeah, it's almost as much fun as the Atari. It does replicate it pretty much exactly. Loses a little bit of atmosphere for not having the music, and it's a little bit garish, but actually plays pretty much the same and is still very enjoyable. Keystone Kapers is a really polished game that is just as playable on its original format as it is on the Atari 8-bits and the MSX. The only question I have about Keystone Kapers is why on earth a company like Ocean didn't pick this up for the Amstrad, Spectrum and Commodore? Because surely, if you're the owner of one of those systems, wouldn't you have loved to have this fantastic game on your computer?